So last week we covered quality of t-shirts. I basically said quality is always inconsistent. I said just because someone says it's good quality doesn't mean it is good quality. We also kind of discussed like basic things you could spot, in terms of like what looks good and what doesn't look good. Since we covered quality, today I want to discuss like another big thing that people use to judge t-shirts, which is fit. Before we start talking about fit, I just kind of want to go over like the fact that at the end of the day, a t-shirt's a t-shirt. It stretches, so there isn't really. I want to say there aren't any clear-cut rules or definitions to what a good fit is in general, and plus it's like trends change all the time. Like
for sure, there's no perfect tee.
Right, and you were like, like in our past trend reports, you keep talking about the boxy tee is coming back. Yeah, so it's there's slim tees, there's boxy tees. It's kind of all over the board when it comes to like fit. And I know a lot of designers, like our designers included, whenever they're talking about t-shirt fit and what a good fit should be, the first thing they look at are, like the specs. They're all just basic general measurements, specs mean something. I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything,
Kind of the basic guidelines.
Yeah, but I mean, like, just so you know too, though, as you know, like t-shirts, basically they're cut into specific shapes and then they're sewn together to make a t-shirt, right? But like a little thing in this, like people in the industry know and manufacturing know, but not too many of the public know is for every fit, I brought up the base spec here, if you could see it. Hold on, let me blow it up a little bit for you so you could see it.
Yep.
This is pretty much our base spec for our t-shirt right now. But what people don't understand is like just because the chest says it's 44, it doesn't mean that it's always going to be 44. Because no matter what, in every pattern for every single shape, there's something called seam allowance.
Okay.
And what that basically means is the pattern maker could measure out a shirt that's 22 in the front and 22 in the back, so it's sewn together to equal 44 all around. But whenever the pattern maker will always add 3/8 of an inch on each side.
Allowing if it shrinks or...
It's not really for shrinkage, it's for the sewers.
Got it, okay.
Because every sewer sews differently, like sewing isn't automated. You still need to sew it, and that 3/8 inch seam allowance basically allows the sewer to fuck up.
Gives it a little buffer.
That's why it's called a seam allowance, right? So, I mean, you could have a 44-inch spec, but when you calculate 3/8 plus 3/8 plus 3/8 plus 3/8, that's like 3/4 plus 3/4. A shirt could be 1 inch big.
Yeah.
Or like around, so like basically almost like a ½ inch on each side if the sewer sews perfectly.
Yeah.
And like you get what I'm saying? And so it's like these numbers, it's people like throwing around these numbers thinking like because they want some semblance of control. Doesn't really happen that way. And basically like that's kind of why I feel like numbers are always kind of more towards more guidelines. And that's kind of why too it's like in every single spec sheet when you see here there's always a tolerance because when you give this to a quality control person and they're measuring this shit out and they're going to be like, wait, no, this spec is wrong. It's 44 and a half or it's 45.
Yeah.
You have that tolerance. So basically it's like for us right here, for example, it's
a little bit of wiggle room.
Right. It's a wiggle room basically. So like we have a 44-inch chest and that's basically around. So it's like, so when you'll see when we measure here, but like, that's why we also give like a tolerance of like 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
So they could fuck up to 3/4 of an inch, and we can't possibly reject it. You get what I mean? And this is kind of why I always say too. It's like when it comes to like, quality control for a factory, there's no better quality control than consistency. Because assuming that this factory consistently uses the same workers, they'll get better at sewing the more they sew the same shit.
For sure.
And that's pretty much like what I mean by quality control. Like. I think specs are like, I think when people talk about or judge the quality of a shirt by how well they hit the spec, I think that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I will also tell you this, I do think pattern is important. Not because of these numbers, but because of the shape.
Okay.
So a big part of like t-shirts, when someone wears a t-shirt and they say, oh, it's like you fit our t-shirts sometimes. We call you in for our production for like fitting just to get like a consumer feedback. Sometimes you say, oh, it's pulling a little bit, it's a little tight.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 95% 90%, I'm going to say 90% of all t-shirts that fit horribly is because the shape of the armhole sucks. The shape of the armhole sucks or the shape of the neck sucks, okay? So like that's pretty much like that's pretty much all there is to it. And it's like a, I mean, I'm pretty sure if like you talk to like a real technician, they're going to be like, "Oh no, that's all fucking bullshit. This actually matters because it's important." But for me, it's like as like someone who knows but isn't like a huge expert when it comes to like technical shit, I always say like the only thing I really pay attention to is the armhole.
Yep.
And that's the only thing where I really, really focus in on. But at the same time, armholes famously are like very, very fickle. So I mean, I don't fault people for sucking with the armhole, you know. And at the same time, like I said, it's a t-shirt.
Is it better to go a little bit bigger than smaller with the armhole?
It's not really about the measurement. It's the shape.
Okay.
Like, I'll pull this up for example. The shape of this curve, like on the actual pattern and on the back, like a big tell is the front is always has a way sharper curve than the back. The back is usually a lot flatter.
Okay. And
so because of that, because of the relationship between the front and back, I mean it's. Like, I can actually break it down for you more if you show me two different patterns, and I'll tell you, okay, this one sucks, this one's good, this one's okay, this one's interesting, I've never seen any, you know, like, I could break it down for you in front of, like, a real paper pattern, but we don't have any paper patterns here, so that's, yeah, so it sucks, like, yeah. But, I mean, as far as we're concerned, like, I always really look at armhole, and like, you know what, let me go over the specs first.
Okay.
Like, I want to show you, like, what each spec really means. Now, let me blow this up real quick. View. And so we could go over each individual point. So I'll show you what they mean.
Okay.
And then from there, like, you know, and then what I'll do is I'll measure some key points here. And basically, we'll compare and contrast all these shirts, okay? So this spec right here, this is the spec we use for this shirt. Don't copy my spec. Whoever's watching this. But anyways, so rib collar height, very, very simple. This guy right here, you see here, 5/8 of an inch. Rib collar height, pretty self-explanatory. Neck width is usually measuring from seam to seam at the high point shoulder.
Okay.
So that's like the neck width for it. And then there's the front neck drop and the back neck drop. So front neck drop is basically if there was a straight line going from the highest point to the highest point, from that straight line, how much the front drops and how much the back drops. So how the shape of the neckline actually fits on you is the relationship of these three. You know what I mean? And what I mean by the relationship...
Kind of all work together.
Right, they all work together. So a lot of mistakes that designers make is like, let's say you try on this t-shirt and the neck is super low. You know, it's like really, really low. A lot of people, what they'll do is, oh, the front neck drop is fucked.
Yeah.
And so what they'll do is they'll extend the front neck drop. But it could also be, no, it could also be the neck width. It's the relationship of all three together that kind of determines how it lays. How it works out technically, I don't really know. That's kind of outside my realm. That's like a total like technical pattern making question. All I know is that they work together. So typically if something doesn't fit right with like the front neck drop, what I'll do is...
You have to adjust all three?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
For me, it's a lot of trial and error. Typically for me, I try not to mess with the front or back neck drop very much. I play around a lot with the width.
Okay.
That's where I typically like to play around with. But like, it's not as simple as just dropping the front. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, shoulder slope is basically from the high point shoulder. If it's a straight line across, how much of a drop it is.
Okay.
It's somewhat important aesthetically. I don't really know, and like, I mean, most people do like, you know, like somewhere between 1 to 2 inches. Okay. So I mean, that's pretty much where I stay at as well. And it's, yeah, like it's, I mean, and at the end of the day, I think it's a very immaterial thing because it's, that's why we only give like one spec for the medium, because typically, I mean, it's pretty standard. It's really up to the pattern maker's preference. Okay. Forward shoulder is basically where the seam hits. We like putting it a ½ inch forward. The reason why we like putting it a ½ inch forward is because everybody slouches.
Yeah.
You know, if you did perfect, and I will show you on this Kirkland t-shirt because this is, I think we covered it in the first video. I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
but I did mention how this shoulder is straight at the seam. So if you see me wearing this, you'll see that the neck is bunching up crazy at the top because everybody slouches.
Yep.
You know, you want the shoulder seam to fall kind of where the center of your shoulder is, and nobody stands perfectly ever. So it's that's why like even like Buck Mason, that's why Carhartt, and that's why we also just like to keep a forward shoulder. The only time I wouldn't put a forward shoulder on a t-shirt is like if I'm putting a print in the front and like a contrast or like, and I don't know, like a solid in the back and the designer's like, no, I need the front to be all print.
Yeah.
Then, you know, I mean, then it's just hanger appeal. And I think it's such a small thing. Nobody really even pays attention to the neckline anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, and for like fashion items, like if it looks good, I mean, they're going to wear it no matter how uncomfortable it is, you know? So,
sure.
yeah. Across shoulder is very, very simple. Shoulder to shoulder. For me, across shoulder, this is a major point of measurement for me.
Okay.
For me, depending on the fashion trends and everything, I fuck around with the across shoulder a lot. This is one of the major points, and this is one of the major points I'm going to be measuring all of these with.
Okay.
Because, like, a lot of people think it's a technical thing. It's also a very aesthetic thing. You know, I don't know if you remember when we were going over some of the trend reports. Like, nowadays, everybody has an oversized shoulder because everybody wants the shoulder seam to be out here, you know? And then either they keep the same sleeve length or, you know, they fuck around with that, you know? Across front, it's basically this measurement right here, from here to here. I mean, I'm just ballparking this shit because it's, I mean, like, it's actually like 6.5 from the top, but I mean, fuck it. I've measured this so many times. Look at it. It's like 17.25, right? We're supposed to be at 17. So you can kind of see where the seam allowance is.
Well, this is a large too.
Oh, no, motherfucker. Oh, yeah, you see, now this is when I fucking go to... All right.
Sorry.
No, you know what? You know what, man?
This is definitely a large.
You know what? You don't have to say sorry to me. You're gonna have to say sorry to Andrew because that fool's gonna hear it. All right. Anyways, so yeah, we fucked this up. We fucked up. Sorry, guys. So like I said, as you could see, you could have the best pattern in the world. Things are always gonna come in a little sketch. Okay.
Yep.
Chest, major point of measurement. I'm gonna highlight this guy as well. I check this a lot. I check this very consistently. So it's, you know, chest, we do it exactly at armhole, which is basically from the seam to this, from the armhole seam
To this.
Man, fuck. Now I'm fucking nervous for this, man. What if this is wrong too? It's supposed to be 23. Ah, it's 23. Okay, good. Yeah, so since it is a large, yeah, so this is good. This is a major point of measurement. This could never really, this has to hit. So for me, the shoulder, the chest, and the length and the sleeve always has to hit. And I will be talking about, like, well, let's go through everything.
Okay.
So I do armhole along the seam. So literally, I force my production guy to literally measure around the whole way through. Some people like to cheat and just give like one measurement, which is straight across like this.
Yeah.
I think that's bullshit because that's just to make sure like the factories are doing really well, but like, or like the factories are consistent. But I mean, for me, I like measuring the whole thing around. It really varies from people to people. I'm not gonna like trip about it, okay? For me, sleeve cap is important. A lot of people don't think sleeve cap is important, but for me, sleeve cap is very, very important because sleeve cap.
From here to here, right?
No. So sleeve cap is basically what you look at is basically from the top of the armhole all the way across. So you follow the shape of the fabric. So across. So let's say from here to here, right? It's this measurement right here.
Got it.
Okay. So for me, sleeve cap really determines who the customer for a t-shirt. So when you see like a fashion t-shirt, what people see in a fashion t-shirt is they want the sleeve to lay flat. You know how sometimes you see the t-shirts that tent out like crazy like this? I'm gonna like, you know, I mean, we're gonna measure all these, and so you're gonna get a good idea of like what I'm talking about in terms of sleeve cap. Fashion t-shirts typically have a larger sleeve cap because the bigger this is, the more the sleeve is going to follow the shape of the arm. Okay. So, and it just looks cleaner the bigger the sleeve cap is, okay? So then like a natural question is, then why doesn't everyone have like a really big sleeve cap? And the reason for that is the shorter the sleeve cap, the more comfortable the t-shirt is.
Okay.
If your sleeve cap is way too aggressive, what's going to happen is every single time you move your arms, you're just going to feel crazy pulling across the front. Okay. And the reason for like a lower sleeve cap, and that's kind of why it bubbles out like this, is because it allows for a full range of motion, and it's a very, very comfortable shirt. So typically for me, what I would say is like workwear shirts and like undershirts. They have a really, really low sleeve cap because they want the wear to be as comfortable as possible. Whereas like a fashion shirt, a la Buck Mason, I didn't measure that shirt yet, but I'm willing to bet you that sleeve cap is very aggressive. If it isn't, I don't really know what their technical person is doing.
Okay.
Because like very contemporary t-shirts, like stretch t-shirts and everything like that, will have a bigger sleeve cap because the wear, it just looks better on them, okay? So ours is 6.
Okay.
Let's fucking see this shit. God, I hope this is right. Well, I mean, I put 6 across. I don't know if it's 6 across, man, because I did a 6 for, and look at me like trying to like justify like us fucking up right now, but like, I did 6 for the medium, and I typically have the, fuck, this looks, okay, good. As long as it's bigger than 6, I'm okay. If it's under 6, we're gonna have some issues. But like, typically, I only give the sleeve cap for medium, because like I said, I'm not a very technical person. I just do it to set the shape, and then I have their pattern maker just grade it accordingly. But, okay, it's 6. Which sucks, because this is a size large. It should be like 6 1/4 or something like that.
You have it there at 6 on there for large.
Yeah, I know, but that's kind of a misprint. I think that's a misprint. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it is 6. You know, I think it should be 6 across. I don't think you grade sleeve caps. I don't know. This is where my knowledge is limited. So I mean, fuck all y'all. Like it's I don't know everything. So yeah, sleeve length.
Student of life. We're always learning.
Always learning. Sleeve length. Of course, it's important because it determines the length of the sleeve. Something that's underrated that people don't talk about is we just measure sleeve length from shoulder.
Okay.
Because it's easier for our production team to do QC.
Yeah.
But typically, a lot of companies, what they'll do is they'll measure the sleeve length from the center back.
Okay.
The reason why they measure from the center back too is because if you increase the shoulder, the sleeve length grows, right? And whereas like you don't just grow this, you know, that's why I always say like shoulder is actually like super duper important, because if you grow the shoulder and you want to keep the sleeve in the same spot, you're gonna have to shrink the sleeve length. You kind of understand.
It's the middleman between the neck and the and the sleeve.
Right. So like, I mean, even for me too, it's like even though I keep my sleeve length at like 8 3/4 here, what usually when I look at a spec, what I would basically do is I would take this across shoulder, I would divide that by 2, and then add the sleeve length.
Got it.
You get what I'm saying? So that way it's like I see the total picture. And so that way it's like if somebody wants to grow the shoulder, I would always set the rule and I would tell them, okay, well make sure you shrink the sleeve, because that's something that's all overlooked. Let's fucking see this bitch. All right, so we're supposed to be a 9 1/4. 9 1/4. Ah,
There we go.
So like I said, like everything in between, typically when we do QC, we measure the chest, we measure the length, we measure the shoulder, and then we measure this. As long as those are good, for the most part, the t-shirt will fit about the same as it always does. Sleeve opening, it's basically this. The reason why this number is really big and this doesn't look 15 inches is because I give the full round measurement. So this should be around 7.5, which is pretty good. It's around 7.5. Solid, okay? So that's sleeve opening. I don't usually measure that. I really should, but you know, if we're cutting like 100 different styles, I can't. You know, like time is important too. You know,
For sure.
So sleeve hem height, which is basically the hem right here. It's purely aesthetic design.
Yep.
I don't pay any attention to it. I tell the designer to look at it.
Is the sleeve hem the same as the bottom
Depends
hem?
on the designer. It depends on the designer.
What is?
There's no function for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like basically because when you see here, I mean, we saw it out here too. It's like, you know, after the fabric is cut.
Yeah, about the same.
Yeah, it's about the same. Like after the fabric is cut, the edge is raw.
Yep.
So they hem it, they fold it in,
Yeah, yeah.
they sew it through, and it's like, you know, like some people like doing like really heavy stitching or something like that with the threads, you know, like contrast threads and everything.
Yeah,
So
my
like,
Buck Mason, I literally have 2 of the same shirts,
Yeah.
but the other one has white.
Right.
On it. So.
Right. So it's like, you know, I mean, if designers want to play around and, you know, like be creative and, you know, do their own thing, like I let them go nuts with the hem. Like I don't really care.
I think it would look weird if it didn't have the hem.
No, all of them have hems.
I know what I'm saying.
mean-
it would look weird
Well,
if it
okay,
didn't.
you know what? Actually, I can't say all of them have hems because for some time, like the raw hems were like really in.
Yeah,
And
when there's like kind of some frayed stuff.
Yeah,
coming off.
yeah, like you know, like sometimes that comes in, and then what we do is we won't hem it at all, or
Yeah.
that's something completely different. You know, I mean, and like stuff like that. There's always No, actually, like what we do with raw hem.
It's more of an aesthetic play rather
Yeah.
than not a technical play.
It's not important to
Yeah.
me. I really don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah. High point shoulder length. That's what the length of the garment is. I am going to measure this because this is important. It's basically from the high point shoulder all the way down to the base.
Got it.
Okay. It's pretty self-explanatory. You know why that's important. You know, I mean, everyone who's listening should know as well. So 29 and an eighth. Okay, so about a quarter inch. I mean, an eighth of an inch. Quarter of an inch longer. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, it's nice. Okay, cool. So this is also actually an important point of measurement as well. So let me highlight that guy. And then we do a center back length too. I'm not going to measure it. It's basic, but I mean, I'll show you guys how to do it. It's like basically you go to the back from this hem, from the center back.
Yep.
Measure to the back. I mean, typically, I only measure one. I think doing both is redundant. I mean, unless you actually look at the shirt and go, oh shit, it's very unbalanced, then you might want to measure it. But I mean, honestly, like, they shouldn't fuck that up,
Yeah.
you know? Across back, it's basically the same treatment as I did the cross front.
Yep.
But for the back,
Okay.
over here,
Do they typically are the same or
No,
which one's longer? The chest?
typically the back is bigger.
Okay.
The back is wider. You know what, I'm looking here right now. For us, we have a ½ inch difference. I have seen shirts that go up to a full inch difference.
Okay.
I have, but I mean, ½ inch is pretty standard. You know, yeah, like, fuck, maybe I'll increase to a full inch now that I think about it. All right, this was a great exercise because now it's kind of got me thinking. But like, yeah, bottom hem is this guy right here. Now, typically, when you see a shirt, this is a good quality check too. You see shirts that bell out. That's not the way the pattern's cut. All pattern makers do a straight pattern for this, right? But you see shirts that bell out. The reason for that is because the sewer, when they're sewing the hem, they pull the fabric.
So it stretches it.
Right.
Yeah.
It stretches it out, and you know, and then it gets here.
So how do they?
What you need to do is you need to adjust the tension of the machine. But the reason why they're doing that is because they use a specific tension for all the other seams,
Yeah.
and they just get lazy and they get sloppy.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's typically what happens. Let's see how good our factory is, right? So this should be 23. Fuck, man. This is nerve-wracking. I shouldn't have done this live. Like, it's pissing me off. Oh, you see, it's actually shorter. You see that? It's actually small. No, I stopped cheating. Stop cheating, bro. Stop cheating.
I'm pulling it out.
Yeah. Stop cheating. So this is actually shorter. It's actually smaller.
By ½ an inch.
I don't mind that because let me show you something. You ready? Check this out.
What I was doing just now.
Yeah, no, but
How's that not cheating?
it is cheating. Now it's 23. You see that shit? Like, so I will tell you this. It's like really funny because I've done like you know how I used to work at a factory, you know, and like what would happen is like some buyers, because they're such quality Nazis, what
Yeah.
they would do is they would reject an entire order because the specs are off. And like whenever I see stuff like that, I get so annoyed because I'm like, the specs are always going to be off.
Yeah.
I told you about the seam allowance and everything.
Yeah.
The specs are always going to be off. Like, you know, like, okay, like an inch of a range, that's crazy. That's like one size apart. You get what I mean? Like a 44 plus a 46, right? That's, yeah, that could happen.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like whenever I see like, whenever I see that, like
Yeah.
it's like, cause like a 46, like the large, they could sew it really small, and then they could sew the 44 really big, and then what happens is that they become the same size. That's not like, it's really dependent on all the sewers, and like these sewers are getting shit pay. They don't care. They don't really care about their
They're
work. You
pumping
can't
out thousands of
Right, exactly. And
shirts
they're pumping out
garments.
tens of thousands. And so literally what I would do is sometimes I like, before the measurement comes in, like
Yeah.
I would be doing a lot of QC and like, I'd be like, all right.
Stretching it out.
All right, oh fuck. My bottom hem is all fucked up. So I would stretch it out and I tell them refinish the garment like this.
That's funny.
You know, and so what you do is you pull it out like this and then you iron it. It stays like that.
Yeah.
It sets it. The heat sets the spec.
Yeah.
And then I would do like, okay, do that for all my shirts.
Now measure.
Yeah. Or I'd be like, do that for all my shirts. Pack it in this box. We're gonna audit this box.
Yeah.
And so like people cheat on like measurement specs all the time. Factories do. It's impossible to
Get it perfect. It's
it's impossible to control the factory for this. And
Yeah.
like I know there's gonna be some garment makers who look at this and goes, not my factory, and I'm like, bitch.
So you
They
say.
do that
So you
shit.
say.
They do that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they absolutely do. They cheat all the time. You
Think
know
what you
and-
want, brother, but
Yeah, right.
you're getting duped.
Yeah, think what you want, but like I know how this shit
You're
goes.
getting
you know?
lied to your face.
Right. So yeah. So anyways, like, so I covered all the bases of measurement, so you could kind of see how it is. A lot of it is bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna say it's bullshit. Let me rephrase that. It's not bullshit. A lot of it, I think, makes very, very minuscule difference that a regular consumer, they won't be able to tell.
For sure.
You know, and it's like, people like me stress out about all these measurements all the time to make it as perfect as possible. But I mean, the reason why like people who like me, who knows that it doesn't really matter much, but the reason we fret about it all the time is because we fuck around with the spec a lot to make it easier for the factory to sew. You get what I mean? So we make the pattern a little bit easier. So like, if I know that a spec needs to be no smaller than this, what I will do is maybe I'll adjust the spec a little bit or adjust the pattern a little bit, so it will definitely not be smaller. You know what I mean? And so we add a lot more than we need to. We take out a lot more than we take in more than we need to, you know? And so you kind of manipulate the numbers a little bit just so anybody could sew it. You know, you simplify it as much as possible. But like,
And the longer you work with that factory,
Right.
the more they see your garment,
right.
the better they get at it.
Right, and that's the whole thing about fit, is people think that fit is a precision thing. It's not really a precision thing. It's more of like okay, you make the small decision and then you just kind of go with it, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
It's very much like a close your eyes type of thing. And it's a really unfortunate thing, but like, short of actually like sewing these garments by hand, that's the only way you could really do it. You know,
sure.
and it's like, and at the end of the day, like I told you, it's fabric is everything. You know, fabric and shape is everything.
Yep.
So now, what I want to do is I want to cover like the important points of measurements that I highlighted here.
On the other ones?
I want to measure these guys out.
Okay.
I want to see what, you know what, I'm gonna do neck width as well, because I think neck width is pretty important. Okay.
Okay.
Which one do you want to start with? You pick.
My shirt.
Let's do the buck. Let's do the buck. All right, let's pull this guy out. All right, so the first thing you do when you measure, I always look at the seam. The side seam, it has to lay flat. We'll do it sideways here because this table's kind of small. Yeah. No, let's move those across that way. Yeah, so you can pull it. Yeah, so pull it off to the side. All right, so first things first, when I see here, take a look at this. You see how it's bowing? But it goes in. Goes in. So that basically means like the tension of this is pretty good. I feel like with Buck Mason, they purposely cut the pattern like this. They purposely cut it like this because they're so sick and tired of having the shit bell out so much that they purposely made the pattern cave in a little bit.
Okay.
Because they didn't know how to fix it. You get what I mean? So they basically do it in the pattern. It's actually not a bad idea because, like I said, it's like factory workers are lazy. You know, I mean, sometimes they might not adjust the tensioning even if you tell them to. You know, it really depends on who you ask. There's more than one way to skin a cat, you know, as you know. But I'm pretty sure they cut it like this because they were sick and tired of seeing the belling out. You know, and they're sick and tired of telling them. Okay. All right, so let's do the neck width.
My roommate in college used to say that all the time.
What? There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
Bro, it's such an old man saying, man. It's not even a millennial thing, dude. It's like, yeah. But so here, let's look here. So right now, their neck width is an 8.
And what's ours at?
Ours is at 7 7/8.
It's pretty damn close.
Yeah, so it's pretty damn close. Actually, I didn't measure that one, but whatever. You know what? We'll do here. You know what? I'm gonna write it down here. So I'm gonna write Buck Mason, and this is an 8. All right. So as you can see, it's pretty damn close. An 1/8 inch. Like I said, you know what? Maybe their spec was 7 7/8.
You're not gonna fret about that.
Right, but I mean, like for me too, it's like typically neck widths are 8. I just do 7 7/8 because, you know, it's like I want to make it a little tighter around the neck because, like, I mean, it's a work shirt at the end of the day. I don't like. I mean, people prefer tighter necks than
not
like
a loose,
super
not
loose
a loose
necks.
neck. Yeah.
Right. So that's probably why I did that. Cross shoulder. So ours is 19 3/4. Okay, and for me, typically the reason why like. Usually the cross shoulders range somewhere between 18 to 18 and a half.
Okay.
But I like having my shoulder seam a little bit outside the shoulder, kind of like what the Carhartt shirt that I'm wearing right now. You see,
drops
and versus
dropped
you-
half an inch down.
yeah, you see like your shoulder's falling exactly where it should. Can I see? Can I see? Yeah, so typically this is like a fitted shirt. You know, like that's where it's supposed to fit. But for me, like I like mine a little bit
Little
off.
drop,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, because it should be right here, but you know, I like it a little more forward.
Yeah.
Or a little more out. All right. So ours is 19 3/4. This motherfucker here. 18 1/4.
Okay.
18 1/4. So you see, this now you could start seeing where the difference is in the shirts, right? So 18 3/4. So what this is basically telling me here is that this is a more fitted shirt. This is a more contemporary fit. You get what I mean? Like this is, it's supposed to cling a little bit. It's supposed to show the body a little more. It's less of a boxy fit and
Yeah.
more of like a contemporary fit.
Oh,
You know,
this is definitely my sun's out, guns out shirt.
Yeah, right, exactly. This is the
100%.
shirt you use to flex, you know?
And I hem it too, like how you wear like that. And
Well,
cuff
all right.
it,
The
cuff
reason,
it.
all right. So when we get to car shirt, I'm going to explain why I roll it up like this. It's a very specific reason. I just think it's like, you know, it's. I think their sleeves are really long.
Yeah.
You know, I think their sleeves are really long, but it's like I like loose fitting shirts. Like it's like I don't really.
Yeah,
I-
it's,
I-
it's everyone's preference.
feel
There's not a perfect shirt.
Yeah,
for,
I feel fucking naked when I'm wearing a slim shirt, man.
Really?
Yeah, it just feels like I feel too exposed.
I
so-
feel money in this guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have a nicer body than I do, yes. So, yeah. All right, so now let's measure the chest. So ours right here was 23. Well, 46 divided by 2 is 23. This is 22, 44. So as you can see here, this shirt is the same size as our size medium shirt.
Yeah. So it's like smaller and
Right, right. So it's a little slimmer.
hugging the chest.
Yeah, it hugs you up. It hugs you a little bit,
Yeah.
you know. All right, now here's like I want to measure the sleeve length first. So this is 8. Ours is 9 1/4. This is 8. So when I look at this, right, as you can see, their large is imitating more of our medium. But I will also tell you this: how many times have you washed this?
Yeah. 15 times.
Right. So
It could
this
have
probably
been.
shrank.
For sure.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like that's kind of the whole thing too, because like cotton, you know,
Yeah.
shrinkage. All cotton shrinks at some point, all right? Now, here's the sleeve cap. Sleeve cap shouldn't change as drastically, but let's see where this is. So if you look here, their sleeve cap is also 6. You see that? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to have a t-shirt that was boxy and roomy like a workwear shirt. That's why I gave it the super beefy fabric. That's why there's that little rivet in the pocket tee. It's I wanted to give it like a very workwear feel. But at the same time, it's not for the true working man.
Yeah.
It's for, you know, like assholes like me who we're not really blue collar workers, but we like workwear.
Yeah.
And you know, it's the same crowd that wears the Carhartt beanies. You
Yeah.
know, it's a very, very durable.
It's workwear, but it's fashionable workwear.
Yeah, it's like fashion workwear. It's
Yeah.
like a fashion version of it. So what I want, and that's kind of my inspiration for getting a little bit of a boxier fit, more room in the shoulders. You know, I mean, like the neck is staying pretty slim because nobody wants a huge scoop neck.
Yep.
You know, the sleeves are a little bit longer. It gives it a real boxy look, but I give it a very aggressive sleeve cap because I don't want my sleeves tenting out.
Yeah.
Like that's something where like, you know, like you could wear to like a gastropub or like a brewery or a warehouse rave.
First
You
date.
know, something like that where it's like first date. Yeah, you know, with those granola crunchy hipsters, yeah. I fuck with that. Yeah, but anyways,
I'm
yeah,
not trying to show out on the first date.
right, exactly. So it's yeah, I'm stylish. Look
Yeah.
at me, Kim. You know,
My workwear.
yeah, super hard at work. You know, blogging on my blog. You know? So it's like it's yeah. So like that was kind of my whole inspiration for that. So it's yeah, but it's pretty cool because like you know, I thought about the sleeve cap a lot, and I wanted something aggressive and fashionable like this. Okay, so last thing I'm gonna measure is the length. So ours is at 29 1/8. This is at
Be a lot shorter.
yeah, but you know, okay. So this I think this is because it shrunk.
Yeah.
I think this is because it shrunk because there's I mean
But not by 3 inches. This is 20, almost 27, 26, and 7/8?
No. This is right here.
Oh, we're in
It's
this
at the
one.
seam. It's like
Okay,
26,
27,
26 and a quarter.
and a quarter.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm.
Can't stretch that out that much.
Yeah. Look, you know, I mean, bro, like, watch. I mean, I'm gonna wear this, and it's gonna look like a fucking belly shirt on me. But I think that's due to shrinkage. You watch this shit like 15
It's
times.
not a crop top, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, I'm just saying. I think it's.
You can't hit him on midriff.
Yeah.
You're
So-
thinking the same movie? This is the end? I'm not sporting a crop top. He's gonna handle this midriff. Craig Robinson.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
But like, look, I mean, I'm just saying. I think it's just, you know, you just wash it too many times.
Yeah.
I think.
Well,
yeah.
it definitely fits shorter than most of my other shirts.
Maybe you got taller, bro.
That'd be cool.
No, but like, yeah,
That'd be hype.
I think it's a shrinkage thing. Like, I mean, rule of thumb too. Like, typically, when no, that's actually really interesting how it shrink this way. That's really strange because
Usually shrinks this way.
it usually shrinks this way. Yeah. Well, I mean, either way.
I think it's just a smaller.
And you just
length.
told me you dry all your shit.
Yeah.
You throw it in a dryer, of course it's gonna shrink. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, I don't blame the Mr. Mason for this. It's an old shirt, so yeah. But either way, I mean, overall though, like when I see this, I'm seeing that a Buck Mason large reads a lot like our medium.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, like I said, you watch this 15 times, so I don't really know, and I don't really want to spend $50 for a prop in this video.
45.
Plus shipping and handling, plus tax, all that stuff. You know?
I went and picked it up myself at the store and
All right.
on Abbott Kinney.
All right. So just
How
just
bougie
that.
I am.
All right. You know what? All right. No. You know what? Let's bring out the ghetto Kirkland.
Kirkland.
Mr. 250. Mr. 250. We're calling this 250 because if you didn't watch the last video,
This shit cost $250.
this cost 250. Actually, it was like 210. Actually.
210. What up, 210?
Mr. 210. All right, so I'm not going to talk much about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it out real quick.
Yep.
And then you're going to see the difference, all right? So you all know. So here.
Pretty universal with that 8.
Neck width is 8, man.
Yep.
You know, it's pretty damn universal. Don't forget, I washed this a shit ton as well. It definitely shrank.
Yeah, but you hung dry it though, not like me.
Yeah,
where I put in.
I am hang drying it too, and
Dude, I put my clothes if they're wrinkled in the dryer to keep the wrinkles
yeah,
out.
so-
That's bad.
So I will tell you this too. With Costco, their testing is bullshit. Like their testing is stupid hard. I know they do a 10 wash test on this guy, and the shrinkage can only be 5%.
Interesting.
So this shirt doesn't fucking shrink.
They
I'm
go,
gonna
so
tell you that
they
right
go.
now.
They do all that work to sell it for $210.
Bro, they don't do the work. We do the factory does the work. You know? We do the work. Oh, 19 and 3/4. Oh, check this out. It lines up very closely to my spec. You see that? Mm-hmm. So 19 3/4, 19 and 3/4. All right. So let's go to chest. So this, as you know, is a tubular machine. There's no seam. So what you do is you fucking do a bullshit ball.
Tubular, dude.
Yeah.
I'd say 21 and a half.
21 3/4. 21 3/4. At the seam, 21 3/4 times 2 equals 40, 42, 43, and you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm on XL for a reason. What was it? 21.75, right? 3/4?
Yeah, 23/4.
Times 2, it's 43 and a half. So it's actually even more narrow than yours.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is the reason why it's a tubular knit. The seam, there's no seam to anchor this.
Yep.
So when this shit shrinks, this shit shrinks.
Yeah.
That's another reason why cut and sew is really good, because cut and sew, it helps the t-shirt maintain a structure a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
If I wear this, you're gonna see it's like slim on me at this point, you know?
You're wearing a corset.
Sort of, but I mean,
Stuck it in.
you know, everyone can see how fucking skinny I am in this. So like, yeah, but
So it's good for skinny people if you were.
well, I mean, if that's your thing, yeah. So here, let me show you this sleeve cap now. 2. You'll see here. Look at this. It's a fucking T.
Literally.
You see that?
Yeah.
It's a fucking T.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is supposed to be an undershirt. I'm just wearing it because it's fucking beefy, man. This is like 185 GSM. You know, this is what like an American Apparel T-shirt is lighter than this.
Yeah, they're like 140.
160.
160.
Well, I mean, actually, it's like 150, but I'm gonna give them a benefit. I'll say 160. Okay. But like, yeah, like typically like a blank T-shirt that you pull for graphics is like 140 to 160, typically. But I mean, like, at the same time too, man, yarn's expensive out here, man. Made in USA is tough. So yeah, sleeve length from shoulder 9.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 9. All right, so high punch shoulder length. This is gonna be long as a motherfucker. What is it?
31 and a half.
31 and a half. So this is 31 and a half. This is 2.5 inches longer than our shirt. It's 2.5 inches longer than mine.
Yeah.
And
it's 5.5.
It's 5 inches longer than yours. All right, so like, yeah.
This thing's a dress on me, probably.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, like, as you can see here, this shirt, when I look at that, this shit, I mean, the tubular knit shrank this like a motherfucker, but this is like quintessential undershirt. Yeah. Quintessential undershirt, okay? They have fucking wide shoulders. You know, they have pretty decently long sleeves. Like, I mean, our sleeve is slightly longer, but...
Yeah, this is not a show-out shirt. This is...
This is the shirt that you tuck in to your pants because it's 2 inches fucking long.
Or you wear a flannel over. If you're going for the flannel shirt combo.
Right, exactly. It's that's like the kind of shirt this is, you know? And so it's, It's
not a flex shirt.
No, but I have worn these on dates, bro. Like, I have. It's whatever, man.
We don't discriminate.
Yo, it's, like, yeah,
210.
But you know what I used to do, though? You know, when I was in my 20s and I wasn't making a lot of money, I would buy a lot of these, and I would buy them super oversized. So, like, I mean, now I fill into a large, but, like, back when I was, like, 160 pounds, you know what I would do is I would buy these larges and I would roll these guys up, kind of like what I'm doing right now for these. I would roll these guys up and basically I would wear this as like a really loose white tee. And I would do the whole thing because this is like 210, man. It's like, you know, and I would buy like the packs of 6 and I would wear like a clean pressed white tee, like greaser style, like grease, you know. I wouldn't tuck it in though, and that was like the one part that I didn't like about the shirt was like it was always really fucking long. But yeah, I mean it's. When you're on a budget, man.
Baller on a budget. 210.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it's
Can't really complain when you're paying 210, right?
Right.
It is what it is.
Right. Now let's look at the Carhartt shirt. This is what all them granola crunchy hipsters are wearing. You know, so it's
been washed or?
Yeah, it's been washed like a motherfucker. They have the same 10 wash shrink test as Costco does. I used to make this shirt. I used to make a lot of these shirts. I did it, I sampled it here in USA, and we did a lot of this out of Mexico in the past. So it's, this is a shirt that I'm very, very familiar with. But yeah, man, like, I mean, overall though, it's fucking Carhartt. What can you say?
It's definitely a boxy fit.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, here, hold on. Let me show you. I'm wearing this shirt right now. This is a size large, right? This is a size large. This is what's fitting on me. Yeah. It's pretty boxy. It's pretty loose. Like when you see me wear that, like you'll see how much skinnier I actually am than I look in this one. But like I said, I like swimming in my t-shirts. You know, it's not really for aesthetics. It's for comfort. You know, it's yeah. But I still wear these out on dates. FYI. I mean. And like the funny thing is I do it for comfort and everyone's like, oh wow, you wear Carhartt, you're stylish. And I'm like, no bitch, I'm not. Stop putting words in my mouth. All right, hey, look at this. So one thing is neck, I think we're hitting all the quadrants with this, you know, 8-inch neck width, all right? So yeah, 19 3/4, look at this. So I will say this. Buck Mason's small. But at the same time, man, I'm comparing to like fucking Costco and Carhartt, man. Like, I mean, you live in LA, so, you know, us LA folks are 46. All right, first off, let me say this. I know for a fact that a Carhartt large in this is actually like 48. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, you designed it.
This is
so it shrunk.
This is shrinkage.
Yeah.
Oh my god, let's do this actually. Fuck. I mean, man, I hope nobody in Carhartt watches this, alright? So let's do this. Let's go 48 times 0.95. 5% shrinkage. You see? It's a 5%. I watched it so many times like the neck is cracking. It shrank 5%. It shrank less than 5. It shrank less than 5%. You see? So it's like this is kind of the cool thing about Carhartt is like Carhartt actually like they do a really good job at controlling the shrinkage. And yeah. Sleeve length for this guy, 10.5. So 10.5. It's more than an inch bigger than ours. Okay. Let's check out the sleeve cap for this guy. I know they don't measure sleeve cap here, so I know typically they don't when they're auditing. No, but let's see. Here. Let's see how this goes. 5. 5. So it's smaller. It's a full inch smaller than ours. Oh, maybe you can sort of see it here too. You see kind of how it's like flaring out like this. Yeah, that's kind of what the control is for that. The length for this guy here is. Call it up.
30.5.
30.5. So 30.5. So it's a full inch and a half longer than
Ours.
It's an inch and a half longer than ours. It's full 4 inches longer than your belly shirt, and yeah. But
My crop top.
yeah, your crop top.
My $45
Yeah,
crop
yeah.
top. Yeah.
No, but okay. So I mean, if you could kind of see a full recap of this,
Yep.
you could kind of get a gauge of right now which customer like each of these are trying to hit right now. So I mean, look, I mean, I'm pretty sure if I wash the MBX shirt, if we wash it right now, it's right now what we're doing for that is I have like a 5 wash test for that. It's a 5 wash test, 3% shrinkage.
Okay.
That's what I have currently for the MBX. It's probably going to shrink more. It's pretty much a guarantee that it's going to shrink more.
Yeah, it's cotton. It's gonna
So
shrink.
it's a cotton shirt,
Yeah.
and I mean we're not paying a whole lot for it. To be honest with you, like you could find that in our stores for what, like $7.99. Like it's like an $8 T-shirt.
Yeah.
So versus this is like a $15 T-shirt.
Mine's 45.
Yo, man, you
I
want
gotta
to
reevaluate my purchasing decisions.
Well, look, it depends. It depends though. It looks nice though. And your shirt is a lot beefier, and it's a completely different weave. I mean, different knitting technique. I think. Let me see that again.
For sure.
Yeah, man, this is almost like a fucking this is like a fine French terry almost.
Yeah,
you know?
I was just
Yeah.
saying.
So it's like it's a completely different knitting as
yeah,
well. Like,
yeah.
dude, that would shrink a lot because the yarn that they're using for that is super fine. You know, so it's I mean, it also has to do with that, and I'm pretty sure right now with like Buck Mason. Dude, I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, if they see this, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing measuring one of our shirts that someone wore 15 times?" Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shit on them. Like, it's like the only reason why I wanted to kind of show this though is to like, you could kind of tell just based on like certain specs. You can make a couple assumptions about what kind of market this particular T-shirt is like trying to hit. Because like, I mean, Costco, you could just tell it's all about comfort. It's all about price. It's like. It's literally an undershirt. It reads like an undershirt. It's extra long because what I'm pretty sure they're making it extra long so when people tuck it in and they raise their arms and shit,
It doesn't fully come
yeah,
out.
it doesn't fully come out. Like, I mean, you could definitely tell what the Costco is trying to do. My thing is, it's really fucking heavy.
Yep.
And so it's probably like an old man shirt, you know? It's something like our dads would wear, you know? Carhartt, it's beefy, it's big, it's boxy. They have a smaller sleeve cap for them, you know, mobility, you know, and yeah, there's that. Our shirt is somewhere in between a Buck Mason and a Carhartt shirt. It's nothing like a Kirkland shirt, but the Kirkland shirt is a third of the price of
Ours.
our shirt and like a tenth of a price of this, and I mean
20x of mine.
yeah, whatever, yeah. So yeah, like I mean, I just thought this would be like a fun exercise for us to go through.
For sure. Again, it's kind of saying there's no perfect spec for a tee. It all depends on who you're marketing to, who your consumer is.
And honestly, like if I really wanted to fuck around with my brand right now and show everybody how shitty our brand is, like I could go to the back, pull 20 of my size large t-shirts out, and I guarantee you all of them are going to range from like 1 inch. I guarantee I could find a 1 inch difference. Yeah. I guarantee it. It's going to happen because it's like I said, you can't really control the sewers.
For sure.
You know, so it's
Do you think there will be like a machine that could do exactly that, what the sewers are doing, and get it perfect? Or there has to be a hand touch to it?
I mean, look, there might be.
Yeah.
There might be. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there is because, like, I mean, especially in this time right now, inflation is going up like crazy. You know, the price of everything is going up right now. You know what's not going up? Wages.
Yeah.
You know, like people are getting paid the same shit as they were like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. You know, like that. I mean, that hurts. You know, for sure that hurts. I mean, like that's a major issue right now in the U.S. You know, and like I could definitely see like once Africa gets fully modernized, once Africa goes through their industrial revolution, there's nowhere else for clothing manufacturers to go. Like I mean, right now we're in Bangladesh. Right now, I mean, we're trying to break into Africa.
Yeah.
You know, like once all that gets modernized, like, fuck, what are we gonna do? You know, and hopefully by then, like, there's enough like machines. I mean, I'd fuck really hard with like just like 3D printing a T-shirt. I don't know if that's something that, or like 3D manufacturing. I mean, it's not printing, I guess, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, you know, I mean, who knows what like technology will bring? But if that happens, then like my industry's I'm fucked. Like all my knowledge of like cutting and sewing, that's all out the window. All of a sudden, it becomes a tech job, you know. But hopefully that happens like when I'm retired.
Past our lifetime.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen anytime soon. But I mean, we'll see.
Or when you move into the beer business.
Well, yeah, maybe that's when I'm gonna start my fucking brewery, right? So yeah. Anyways, yeah, thanks for you know,
measuring and
yeah, like doing all this, I guess, and yeah, I'll see you next time.
no doubt.